Okay.
Holy fucking shit.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little on edge right now. Because it was good, but damn, it was just like...
I gotta tell you, by the way, we are Ideas May Appear with...
Nick.
And Sivia, and
lately we've just been doing a lot of Riverdale stuff.
A lot of Riverdale. Love Riverdale. We are on chapter 7, In a Lonely Place. And this is Riverdale. And they are really getting down, like, because it is a murder mystery, they're really getting down, like, the suspense. Would you call that a thriller, or is it just suspense?
Oh, I think suspense would be, like, the writing tactic, and thriller would be the genre.
Yeah. Whatever.
But anyway, I don't know. It's
major
it's
thing
just fucking
that, like, straight up, you and me, like, I straight up, like, did that, what's it called? Where you kind of, like, punch up in the air and you pull your other hand down, and I literally went, yeah! When
I don't know what that's called, but
I'm trying to put in the mental picture the sake of, like, you know, going like this. Basically, so a major part of it is, so Polly was missing in the last episode. Is this broken? Oh, no, it's not. Good. I was about to be so sad.
Polly was missing.
So
Polly was out the
and they were going to look
door.
for her. Of course, Betty was, like, remembering kind of the typical place she probably hid as a child. She was in the attic. She gave her a couple days to find where it is, because basically Polly's like, the parents are going to... They're not going to keep me here. They're definitely going to send me back, and they're forcing me to put my baby up for adoption. I don't want to put my baby up for adoption. She tries to privately, you know, talk to her parents. Betty does. And they basically, in so many words, were like, oh, well, honey, you know, Polly and us made that decision, you know. We're, of course, going to blah, 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 you know, with the baby. But, of course she's going to give it up for adoption. That's what she wants. When, of course, another lie, because they're the biggest liars on earth. Then she talks to Cheryl, and Cheryl... Now, this is the one thing I'll say about Cheryl, is I think because she's in an abusive relationship with her parents, and the reality is, as much as they are abusive to her, they will always save her. They're going to abuse her in the end, but they will always save her. So I don't blame her for gut-wise being like, you know, Polly being pregnant with Jason's baby is a game changer.
Everything. I no longer suspect
you need money.
Polly.
Of course, my family can totally help you. And so she tells her parents, and her parents and Betty meet, and initially they're like, "Where is she?" Of course, trying to act nonchalant.
This is the only time Betty's smart enough to withhold information.
Yeah, but it's like,
I don't really know if I can say.
Yeah.
Oh, that's of course, you know, normal, honey.
And then she blatantly asks Cheryl if you've ever seen her openly taking drugs, and for once Cheryl's like,
Why are you asking that?
Why? And then they basically were like, well, blah, blah, we wouldn't want an unfit mother taking care of our grandson. Clearly, right away, knowing, oh no, they're going to separate the two. And then, because Cheryl's not that evil, and she does have a good heart somewhere in her, she comes to kind of warn Polly and be like, get the hell out of here. And they get Polly a home with Veronica. But when Cheryl came in by herself and was having that moment with Polly where she was like feeling very touched and connected clearly to her brother through that method, I was just like, yeah, Cheryl, yeah! I have to say, though, I was like, Betty, why are you even meeting with them? Really? Do you think that it's going to work out well?
Here's the thing that I really think is super realistic about Veronica and Betty's characters. They both come from really manipulative, abusive situations. This isn't the classic that we always hear about, which is horrible in its own right, but, you know, parents were like alcoholics and came home and beat me all the time. Like, this is much more subtle. This is people constantly being like, we love you, but then consistently being verbally abusive, manipulating the truth, and are just not good people in their own right. Both parents, Cheryl's and Betty's. So, because they're still really young, they know that their parents are wrong, and they know that they're crazy, but they don't even realize when they fall back into their traps. They don't really know.
I really can understand that.
Betty trusted Cheryl's parents because Cheryl trusted their parents,
but not fully. She was like testing it out. She was being smart. Not fully,
but in their mind, they still have a hierarchy in their head. Parents know what's best. Yeah, deeply lodged in there, and that'll go away soon enough. But they're only 16. I mean, you know what I mean. So it's perfect how they both almost like The thing is, though, this is a big moment for the two of them. They're really starting to recognize their parents' shit and nipping it in the butt instantly. Betty was a little naive and going to her parents and saying, Polly, no, stay. Come on, of course you can live here. And then,
but she wasn't dumb enough to tell her parents she was in the attic.
She wasn't, but she talked to her parents. Her parents said, oh, yeah, well, Polly wants to adopt the baby. And then right away she put it together, nipped that in the butt.
She's getting...
Same thing
happened.
If
anything, I think she's getting so smart because if she had fought her parents on that, it would have been right away a conversation and would have been... There could have been an argument. It could have gotten out of hand. For her to take the more passive route to kind of figure out what the deal is was so smart. I have to say, though, I was about to be like... Because Cheryl, initially in the episode, I was like, Cheryl, I thought we had this touching moment with you last season, or last episode, where we kind of got to know you have an abusive family, whatever. But for her to right away spread the rumor that Polly, killed Jason via Twitter, and was like on the man.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And was being a terrible person. And, I think in that moment,
slip back into her old ways, because it's that easy. They're just finding out who they are separate from their families now.
Separate from her brother.
So it's difficult always. It's like what Veronica was dealing with early in the season. She thought she'd move to Riverdale and then just be a new person, and she did really great, but she had that kind of fuck up.
And she's
but
still...
that just happens.
I would think overall she's been a good person, everyone, but there's still tendencies of hers that I don't think are necessarily negative, but you can tell she's, for her to, kind of get her mom by going to there's a Riverdale nightclub?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about how Riverdale literally
I'd go to that nightclub.
Has everything. It is like the most
But have you
eclectic
noticed
town
every
in the
time
world.
they go to a place, it's always one building surrounded by a lot of woods, like it would be in a very, it's not a maybe a Midwest, but a very, how do I express this?
Yeah.
Kind of, there are parts of the United States where there's
the
buildings.
Are
no, not the nightclubs. But the buildings are all, separate and kind of spaced out, so the town is kind of wide, though it's a small population, but it doesn't mean everyone's, a hick or anything. It just, it's just, there's just a lot of land, and that's kind of like Gravity Falls kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Those places do exist in, Oregon, stuff like that, so I can believe that, but when they said nightclub, I was like, where? Where's the nightclub?
Yeah, no, I don't know of any nightclubs in small towns.
But when she goes to the nightclub, when Veronica goes to the nightclub, I'm thinking...
And starts using her mom's credit card.
And she talks about her old, this is how we work with each other, blah, blah, blah. But I was going to say, though, when Cheryl... First of all, when she connects to Polly, you have that moment where she's not only like, oh my god, this baby is the closest I'm going to get to my brother. Look, it's got his genes. And, you could tell she's that moment. But then when Polly, holds her hand and is like, I know how much you loved him. She goes, he always talked about how much he loved you, too. And
how can you be
you have that moment.
Like
you see her click where she's like, oh god, instead of talking shit about Polly, this is the only other person. This is my last connection to my brother of someone who knew him as intimately as I knew him. I mean, I ship those.
Oh, I know you do.
So what I'm saying is, that was beautiful. What I'm trying to say in my long-winded thing is that I love that Cheryl was kind of negative and bad and old habits, and even went to her parents, because I get it. She's in an abusive relationship, understanding, predictable. But then I like that at the end of the day, I don't think Cheryl's evil the way her parents are. I think she's abused, and she's always trying to release that, get their energy off of her by releasing it on other people. And so when she's negative like that, I think if she were to have a chance to see how she reacts to people and you record it, rewound it, she would be one of those rare people that, looks at herself and be like, ooh, shit, that was kind of harsh, you know what I mean? And in that moment, when she sees the way her mom and dad is being, she even is like, I want my baby nephew too, or niece, or whoever the baby is. But, yeah, I don't think it's right to take the baby away from his mother. Even if the baby's technically being protected by us, I can understand that that's messed up, and I don't think Jason would want that.
But I guess they wanted so Betty's parents wanted her to give her up for adoption, but I think that Cheryl's parents would have been even worse, and they would have been like, yeah, come in our house, get the best medical care.
Slowly poison her.
We'll feed you, we'll take care of you, and then as soon as the baby's born, oh, you're going to have to leave now.
And
that's what they would have done. And that's even worse.
And been like, well, she's not a fit mother. She doesn't have a home to take the baby back. It would have been awful.
Yeah. And, I mean, just, like, major points to Cheryl for recognizing that. And
yes.
I was so nervous, though, because I was like, you are in the middle of the diner. Like, this is a small town. Yeah. Everyone sees you. First of all, that was the dumbest place to meet.
No, this is the smartest reason, because between Polly having a group of friends like that, and then a mixture of being it so public, if the Blossoms were to do anything,
get violent,
witnesses.
Yeah. That's true, too.
If they tried to grab her,
But anyway, I was so worried that the parents would show up at the door or something and be like...
That's why Cheryl was like, go, go, go!
And I'm just glad, okay, they're at the lodges. And the truth is, that's the most realistic thing, because how is Polly realistically going to get a job that's going to be able to support her and a baby literally now? That's what she's up against. She has to get a job literally now to support a baby. You know she doesn't have any work experience. She's only 18.
I freaking love there was a resolution to that.
Yeah.
That her mom, that Veronica's mom took her in. And I like that Veronica's mom wasn't like, well, like, I hate when girls do this. I get it now as being more of an adult. I get it if I was in that situation. I understand why a lot of parents are like, well, I can't take you in because your parents wouldn't like that and I don't want to both have bad blood with them. I don't want to get in trouble, blah, blah. I like that Veronica, without a doubt, was like, I get it.
Hermione's too cool for that petty stuff.
She's always got her big glass of wine. She's awesome.
She's doing just fine.
Mija.
Yeah, you gotta feel that.
I like when she was fighting with her. She was like fighting with her, Veronica, and then right when she could feel she was losing, she was like, Mija! Like, she was doing that typical, how do I explain this? I think, I don't know, I've never resorted to this, but I've experienced being with people where they try to be like, babe? Like, they try to pull out
I don't have anything to say, but can I make you feel guilty?
It's like, I'm trying and I'm losing. What can I do to... It's more than just guilt. It's more like connection. It's like, remember? So
I have to say, I kind of don't hate Archie in this episode.
Well, that's because there was less of him.
There was a lot less of him.
I will say this, the worst friend ever. How did you know your dad was clearly a drunk from day one?
Yeah, he didn't know anything about
Didn't know he was
Jughead's
in a
dad.
Gang.
Didn't know he was in a gang.
Didn't know his family had abandoned him in so many words.
Didn't know his mom and Jellybean left, yeah.
That he was living at the school and was homeless for... Clearly, this has been for quite some time. This decision has been made.
Ever since the drive-in was closed down, he found a place in the school.
But, I mean, he didn't know about the drive-in either.
Yeah, he didn't.
He was like... He basically was like, how long have you been homeless?
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, Archie. How were you...
Friend.
I imagine that when they were friends and they were kids... Again, because this fits with Archie's character, so to me, it actually works. It's not poor writing to me. They were the type of friends, and I imagine Jughead going through his difficult situation that he was going through as a child. When they went and played, as they said, like Jughead's treehouse, or played together, he probably was like, yeah, I don't want to freaking talk about my personal life. I'd like to escape it. Let's just have fun. Let's talk. Let's laugh. I don't want to talk about it. And then Archie's someone that always wants to make it about him.
So he wouldn't even care
So it would have been
ask.
perfect, because I've actually personally been there a lot with friends, where I'm someone who doesn't like to talk about my feelings. I'm not trying to compare myself so much to Jughead, because obviously we're not the same. I'm just making a point of saying...
Well, I think he's supposed to be a relatable character. So.
Well, okay, thank you. Thank you for, what is it called, bailing me out or whatever. But like, I can relate to that vibe of like, I literally can often hang out with friends, and I put all the attention on them, because I'm literally thinking, listening to you talk about your life, or whatever you're into, is just a nice relief. I would do it anyways. I'm just to clarify. I would totally, of course, when you're in friendships, you talk about each other's lives, but in that way where it's like, no, really, please do not ask about me. You know what I mean? It's too much to go into. So it works. But I'm also like, during that episode, I was like, Archie, I was proud, though, that when Jughead was kind of like, oh, God, I really am glad they didn't skip over it. I like that they didn't just, like, avoid it. That whenever he was clearly showing his feelings towards Betty, and Archie was known of it, he wasn't a dick. He even still tried to find Jughead a home. Like, he was actually being a good friend.
Jughead's staying with Archie now, which is
For once,
great.
Archie wasn't... Except I was like, Archie, where's Val? Where's Val, Archie?
Yeah, where did Val go?
Not interesting enough.
We didn't get any of that this episode. We got a little bit of Josie, because she went clubbing with Valerie. I mean, Veronica, I'm sorry.
And I really like, it really, really, really touched my heart that there's a lot of times where you get the vibe that because of the whole Polly thing, everyone's just talking behind her back. But when Polly needed to be found, we recognized quite a bit of characters like Josie, like Val, and a bunch of other people who were there to help find her with the good intention of just being like, are you okay? Yeah. Let's help you. Compared to, Cheryl's family that was like fucking dogs and like the manhunt of the season.
Don't you think it was disgusting how the Coopers were like, well, now that we've been backed into a corner, let's tell everybody that Polly's pregnant.
And they tried to be like,
the only reason you told you came public that she was pregnant was to save your asses.
I can't decide personally who's more evil, except that
they're
between
both
the Blossoms.
evil.
No, hold on, let me make a point. I think depending on the Coopers and the Blossoms, they're both the worst parents ever, but I think they're more evil when it is their personal child, because even though it would have been messed up of the Blossoms to do to Polly what they clearly were trying to do and stuff like that, the reality is that I'm so sorry, I'm just trying to connect my thoughts. The reality is the fact that her very own Polly's very own parents would just hide her away. Literally, was she getting an education there? Clearly not. She was just reading the Bible and hanging out in the garden all day. And then to take away her baby, and clearly, what were they going to do with her the rest of the time? Seriously, I kind of got the vibe that because they're so into...
They killed her.
I don't think kill her. I just think, no, we're protecting you. And then slowly do that One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest of you're nuts. You can't leave her. You're not... I mean, I get that vibe from them. They truly are on a level that's horrifying to control.
I have to say, at this point now, I think Polly is as mentally healthy as anyone could be in her situation.
She's handling it
They
really
almost
well.
made it kind of up in the air last episode. Even though she was right about the car, she was still super hysterical. But it made sense that she was hysterical.
She hadn't seen her boyfriend
She
in
had a very frantic look
fiancé.
in her eye, which could either just be somebody experiencing something, or it could be somebody that's now dealing with mental health
she handled it so well. She was just oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. But then when it was push comes to shove, she's like, I haven't seen my fiancé in 4 months. Can you get a message to him? Can you get a message to him? And then when she found out he was dead, I mean, come on. How would you not be devastated? I was going to say, though, that, I know I'm just making it about it, but Betty and Chucky! I like the combination of, one, thank you for giving us an arm around the shoulder, holding hands, kissing. Thank you for giving us that. And thank you for I'm still loving it. This is the one time I don't feel like anyone's baiting me. I like it, and it feels realistic. I like that when he went to go kind of be like, hey, are we a couple? Instead of saying, hey, we are a couple, or isn't that, he was saying, I'm going to walk you home. Because,
that what people like us do?
He went around it, and the reason why I liked that was he was, again, this feels really real to me. And I've been there. I'm just thinking of the first time. Do you remember the first time? I'm sorry, I'm just getting on butterflies. Do you remember the first time you were, going to school and you were like, I'm going to have to tell people, my girlfriend, I'm going to tell my roommate, my girlfriend's visiting. And I went, wait a minute. And this was, the first time you had ever called me that. And I went, wait a minute, does that mean... And you went, yes! And, you cut me off and you, silenced it, but you very much... It was very cute how you, owned up to that. It was the first time you called me that. It was very sweet. But... So this show just gets me so lovey-dovey. But when he's in that weird place where it's if I say something, am I going to scare off this relationship? But on the other hand, she's so warm, how she holds his hand and is comforting him. And I love when she's no, of course I believe you. And she holds him. She goes, I know you. I mean, that is he clearly in not a very long time has had a stable relationship. I mean, even Archie ditched him. So it's really nice to see both of them have a stable thing in their lives. And it's beautiful and it's nice and it's cute. But I like that they're still tiptoeing it. And my favorite part is they both have the same idea of keeping it private. Because they mutually, even though she kind of tells Veronica, and at first it kind of seems like she's shitting on him. Or she's not shitting on him, but she's well, I've been in a really dark place in my life and he's been there for me. I'm kind of oh no. Are you going to make it be when you feel better, you're done with him? And
that's what I was worried about.
And you're kind of admitting it's pity, I mean, they're not having sex. Pity holding hands.
Yeah.
But But honestly, I really don't think it is. And I really love that they're both being... Honestly, that's why I feel like realistically it's going to be one of those great long-lasting relationships. Like, if that was happening in real life, which it has, I think you and I have both experienced it, it's really positive to let it develop. I feel like the world gets in too much when you get in... I mean, I don't know about you, but whenever you were kind of like slightly seeing someone or slightly crushing on someone, it becomes, so what are you? Tell me. Give me information. Have you kissed? Have you hooked up? What does this mean? Do you think... And then something that you really shouldn't overthink gets overthought?
Overthought, yeah. That makes sense. Let's talk... How do you feel about the whole thing between... Jughead's dad and Mr. Andrews?
Okay, first of all, Jughead's dad sucks giant balls.
So he tells us this story. Of course, Archie on Jughead's dad's first great good night was like, so
I was like, Archie. Of course, he had to fuck it up in the episode a little.
Yeah, he had to make it about him. You said my dad owed you one. What was that about? And he said, oh, well, me and your dad were partners in Andrew's construction when we were younger, and, he only had to support you, but I had to support, Jughead and Jellybean.
And hospital bills. And I was like, bitch, they had a baby too. I am sure they had hospital bills.
So I took some odd jobs and got in jail, and he bailed me out, but he also made it so that he bought me out. Even though my stake in the companies were 10 times more than the bail.
So he still owes me money.
So he still owes, and that was messed up, but I had to do it. And it's like that, you know what, actually, that does sound like a good really reason. Bad. But then when he goes to Jughead, when Archie goes to his dad, and I do believe his dad.
Yeah.
His dad's like, I bailed him out
a lot,
so many times.
And he stole from me.
And he actually stole supplies from the company too.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like, yeah, he has to buy him out of the company by bailing him out. That sounds harsh, but if he didn't do that, he'd have somebody who owned 50% of the company stealing from him and getting himself in jail. And honestly, if you own 50% of the company, why do you need to go to your partner to bail you out? It's a
construction company. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Agreed.
And he was right. He's like, sometimes when someone's drowning, you can't let them drag you down there with them. And
then Archie's true. Like, but then what about Jughead? And this is my thing. Two things. One, I truly don't think Jughead. Archie was asking that question of hostility. No. I think it was truly just Archie being dumbass Archie. He just proves himself a fuckboy constantly. But I was going to say that when we were discussing that, I was like, yeah, I gotta be honest with you. The first bailout, I would have been like, I can't do this anymore. So I give him credit for giving him a lot of chances.
He bailed out a few times.
But when he was like, what about Jughead? It's like, well, no offense. And I'm a huge, fan of Jughead. But, that's not his responsibility. It just isn't. It sucks to see horrible things happen in the world.
Kid, yeah.
But the Andrews don't really have that much money. They live in a small house.
They do better, obviously, than Jughead's dad, but
it's not that great compared to the other people in town. And I just don't think he could do it. But, however, I do agree that he could have at least been like, Jughead, Jellybean, you're welcome to come over here whenever you want, or if you want to sleep over, or do you want to come over for dinner? And that would have been a great way
and I don't think it was vindictive towards him. I think he wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah,
but it's like, you know what, Archie, you weren't thinking about it either.
Which we found out Jellybean is freaking alive, is with her mom.
Fine.
Did they say why she just didn't take Jughead? Why did you not take Jughead?
My theory would be she's saying, all right, dude, I'm leaving you because you're an alcoholic. And you can't take care of us, and you're dragging me down. But Jughead said that his mom is just working on getting her GED now.
Yeah.
That means that she wouldn't have enough money to support him.
And I bet you Jughead was the type of guy to be like, go on without me.
Yeah, and Jellybean's the littler one, so she's probably like, I'm sorry, Jughead. But you are the older kid. I think she probably would have. I
think she would have offered it him, and he would have been like, You go do
That's
you.
possible, but I have a feeling that she was just like, I don't know if I can take
The fact that they're
you in.
calling each other, though, shows that they're on a good
There's
enough...
no animosity. He probably understands that
but
she
can
can
I
only
say
take
this
care
as
of
someone
one kid,
who
but that
has
fucking
alcoholics
sucks.
in their life?
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of alcoholics I know really are truly good people. They're suffering from a disease, and that sucks, and that's... I mean, I really do get it. I don't understand being addicted to alcohol in the sense that, like, I'm not addicted to alcohol, but I understand...
You don't even really like alcohol that much.
Not really.
So it's kind of hard to relate to someone who's addicted to it.
Yeah. Unless you were like, I have a cupcake addiction. I'd be like, I understand.
I understand why, though. It's super numbing.
What I was going to say, though... Yeah, exactly. But what I understand, though, is, like, I get, and I actually don't think you're making it up, that you're addicted. However, a lot of those addicted people... are really good people, and the disease ruins their lives.
Jughead's dad, though? No.
He's just a dick.
Yeah.
He's a dick that is also an alcoholic. Like, take away the alcohol, there's still aggression there.
Yeah,
there's still...
fucking extorted, Hermione Lodge just because her husband wasn't around. I guarantee you, if her husband was, like, with her, he would never do that. Mm-hmm. But because he's in jail, he's able to, bully her, which is so low.
It's so fucked up.
Like, if you want to sell meth, dude, fucking sell meth. I mean, that's not good, but, like, fucking sell meth. I cannot stop thinking
about how he's in a gang, and he has a wife and a child, and clearly the wife and child are not involved in the gang life. So I'm just thinking, like, imagine my dad just randomly out of the blue going, I joined the Serpents. I'd be like...
What?
You're, like, 60. Like...
That's the weirdest thing.
It's so weird. So I keep thinking about that and how much that's made me laugh. But the big, Jason's jacket was in the closet.
Of Jughead's dad.
Oh, and I forgot to mention this. I was getting really volatilely upset.
When they questioned Jughead?
Because that is a thing where people, I'm including, obviously, race. This is a huge one. Race.
You're talking about profiling, yeah.
Profiling of any regard.
Yeah,
this is what I'm trying to say, including race. He says, what was the names he used?
He was talking about the West Memphis 3. Mm-hmm. They were actually kids who lived. I guess they were. I don't know. Anyway, they lived in the South in Tennessee, someplace, and they were really into Metallica and like metal, and they wore black. And in their town, that wasn't the cool thing to do. They were like the only 3 kids that really dressed that way, were into that subculture. So there was a murder, and they were convicted of that murder wrongfully. And they got out of prison not too long ago for a murder they didn't do, because they were different. And that was just, when he referenced that was just like very emotional.
That's what I mean, like the profiling.
That's a weird type
so
of
what's so scary
I don't know how often
how they were
anymore,
connecting it. Yeah. I was like really scared because I was like, and this is the part that scares me most of all, and I think the whole thing terrifies me, is it's always funny in detective shows when people are like, why didn't you tell me the truth? It's like, well, why would I tell you the truth, even if I'm innocent, if in so many ways it's easy to like kind of like how he was trying to connect false dots.
Yeah.
And this is a big one. When he was like, what were you doing July 4th? No offense. If you asked me right now, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't remember, like, July 4th, remember? Like, I was doing this.
Dude, you're so dumb. This was a guy who literally got you closer to the case than you ever got on your own. Just because he wanted to do it.
I didn't even think of that.
You're accusing him of the murder because he gets bullied by people like Jason.
He turned on him quick.
Think about how you sound. You are blaming the victim of senseless bullying, of murder, for no other reason than a possible motive for being mistreated.
By the way, real quickly, when they were like, in 6 years ago, you were in juvie. I think they're supposed to be like sophomore, juniors, or whatever.
6 years ago, he was playing with matches.
No, but I was like, but they said he went to juvie. I was like, can 11-year-olds go to juvie?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's a thing, though.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I don't think it is. I think it starts at 13.
No. You can go to juvie.
Wait, I'm looking this up right now.
You can go to if you do something serious as a kid, you can go to juvie. Especially if you committed a murder or something.
Juvie age. I said juveg. Juvenile age. Just give me a rapper.
Oh, God. Is the rapper's name Juvenile?
How old do you have to be to go to juvenile detention center? Juvenile officers are not adult criminals. If you are under 18, break the law, you can be charged. Okay. But I want to know what's the youngest. I'll say what's the youngest. It literally is a website called Kids Legal. Kids Legal! Like Kids Bop, Kids Legal!
Oh my god.
What's the youngest age you can be to go to juvenile? Speaking of, I'm sorry, just made me think of like Kids Bop. Did you know I haven't watched it yet, but there's a skit by, what's her name?
Amy Schumer?
Nuclear Family. It was like a branch off of SourceFed, and one of their skits, they would do skits, one of their skits was like a Kids Bop, but it was like Compton. So they had little kids, like, with, like, a kind of more PG-13, like, Compton background. All the kids were in chains, but they were doing, like, the Kids Bop version of, like...
NWA songs?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. They might as well do that, being that Straight Outta Compton looked like a Hallmark
12.
movie.
See, I told you.
I thought you could be, like, 8.
Oh, but the new law lowers it to 10. Oh, can you... To be fair, it is comforting to know that if a serial killer was, like, 10, there's somewhere for them to go. But, however...
Can you imagine if he just, like, stole a car? Oh, my God. Remember that 8-year-old who stole his grandmom's car and, like, dented it up? And then he just said, I like to do bad things. I just want to do hood rat things with my friends.
I was like, what are you watching? What are you doing?
And then the Boondocks skit that made fun of it, but they mashed it up with Juice, the movie with Tupac, where they're fighting on a rooftop, and then one of them falls, and the other one tries to save him, and then he drops him by accident, and then somebody goes, "You got the juice now?" With Riley and the kid.
Hold on, we're getting distracted.
That was really funny, though.
So yes, it was very funny. I love the Boondocks, but it was Now you just see the problem is if you bring up Boondocks, I'm just thinking of all the like
hilarity.
The Usher, the rapper that like takes the wife,
Tom
and,
Dubois' wife,
that mean guy that's blind.
Stink mean.
Okay. Stop. You're making me think about it.
Okay, no, we don't need to think about it. We're not doing a Boondocks.
But I'll
podcast.
just smile and think fondly of Boondocks.
Okay, no. We're talking about how Jughead
that really upset me.
That upset me so much because I was just like,
I was gonna punch the screen.
That's like you're being a bully right now. Like you're being like those kids.
But Riverdale is making like a commentary. It's making a commentary on how many black actors they need to give more work to. But but otherwise, when they were making that commentary, I was like, yeah, like it's messed up that happens to anyone, especially when like it's one thing. If they were like, okay, we found your prints on it, right? But he even says, he goes, but you told us, you took me to the freaking crime scene. Yeah, and we found Betty's too. But we're only attacking you because of this thing you did when you were 10.
It's like, wow,
I'm sorry. I want to be like, you clearly look at his history between, I mean, I still disagree, but it would be a different case if he had this history among history of over the years of some sort of thing.
He's just like someone like you from the wrong side of the tracks, trouble at home.
But I'm like,
what
you
the
mean this
hell?
one thing that happened, and then literally he gets good grades and he's fine, and now he just randomly murders someone. And
they were kind of judging him because of his dad.
Which, that's why, like, I was so thankful.
Because he's from, like, the poor end
his dad
of town.
almost went in drunk. And he was like, I'm going to make it worse.
I
was like, no!
It's like, no, like, you've been in jail so many times. Like, you're going to make him look really bad.
Yeah.
But being, like the angry, drunk dad.
Now that Jughead's at Archie's, I really hope you have an episode where, like, they're making out on Archie's bed or something. And he comes in. Oh, I want it so bad!
Yeah, you made that joke where Betty's like, Jughead, you should probably stay with Archie, but that's going to make it really hard to fuck. It's like, it's true. What are they going to do? Because they can't go to Betty's house.
I just want Jughead to take her, like, Cherry so bad and vice versa. I just so totally, like, it's been a while since I don't normally... Bughead. Yeah, that's a stupid thing. I like the other one I came up with. What was the other one?
Jetty?
I like Jetty more. I'm calling them Jetty. I think that's cuter.
Or already Bethead.
Okay, I'm sticking with Jetty. But I was gonna say, it's been a really long time since I've seen a couple that I like. I'm not someone that just sees a couple and go, oh my god! Normally I'm like, okay, cool, I accept that, whatever. But very rarely am I like, I'm trying to think. I think the only thing I can think of is, like, not to be corny, but like the Pride and Prejudice movie with Keira Knightley's character and Mr. Darcy. I was like, I was like, I ship them! You know? But anyways, about that. Besides all my spontaneous combustion over the two, keto them, come on, let's talk about the fact that he's Jason's jacket. First of all, I know watching
he's
a
not
lot
the killer because it's way too early in the series for that.
Oh, and remember Betty's dad took some evidence. I think two things. One, Betty's dad totally didn't. Betty's dad could have paid a serpent. I can answer you right now. Betty's dad took that evidence because he literally just wants Polly to not be involved at all, and it's very possible that could get back to their family. And he probably doesn't even really want Jason's murderer to be found. He's probably like... Oh, they made it perfectly clear. So that's a great point. Two, I don't think he did it, but I do think he obviously was involved with the whole fire thing and someone paid him for whatever reason. Maybe there was evidence in some way, shape, or form of him selling drugs to the kid, so he got rid of the evidence so that he couldn't be kept back. Now, I'm watching a lot of Nostalgia Critic lately, so I would... The critic in me... I'm just kidding, but, like, he would have been like, why would you save just Jason's jacket and put it in the closet? And I'm thinking, well, you need some freaking evidence for us audience to be like, oh my god. But I have to say, though, that I'm like, I love that they're giving us just enough, like, oh my god, this person did it. But because it's a constant, like, I definitely don't think they went further to killing Jason, it's still cool to be like, but why did they do it? It's enough that I feel fulfilled. Like, thank you for not putting me on a wild goose chase. Like, giving me enough, but still keeping me wanting more. It's like a really good hint, but at the same time, I just know that he's not Jason's killer. No. I don't think so at all. We better find out who Jason's killer is. He's too drunk all the time. I doubt he could do it. We better find out who Jason's killer is this season, because... I will be pretty annoyed. And... this is the thing, though. What are we going to do with Riverdale when they find it? When they find it. It could unlock a whole nother thing. I will be deeply upset if they lose the whole murder mystery thing. Because as much as I'm interested in some of the smaller relationships and the general vibes. I totally am. I want to know what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, I need that, bit of drama. I wanted to say this, by the way. I actually completely disagree with how dumb Veronica's being when she was like, you have to tell Dad. I don't want him to think I lied to him. Totally get that. I totally get that. But this is the thing. Her mom was shaking. And she was like, and she just made that face. I wish I could portray it through a podcast. It was kind of like, yeah, Mom. Good. Thanks for doing this. And it was like, calm. And I'm like, she kind of hinted at it. I think it's very possible that, one, I think she's hinting and Veronica's not picking it up that he probably was a cheater. And so she's finally like, I'm getting mine. Not in a vindictive way, but she honestly is developing feelings for this guy. Fred. But also, I don't think, he's above hiring someone to go after her or Fred. Oh, God, yeah. So if he connects the dots... that could be bad. So for her to be like, yeah, Mom. I'm like, Veronica, are you stupid? You clearly don't know anything about your parents. And the reality is, how truly well do we know someone? We don't know anything really about her dad. Especially with her family, her mom and dad. It's because her mom's very protective of her. That I just feel like her mom would have not told her about it. And he would have been good at hiding it, because I just don't get the vibe that they were sitting down for family dinner nights. I think they were close enough, but I think they were all very independent as a family. I think that he had his business, and of course, his criminal activities probably consumed a lot of his time and effort. And then Hermione had her social life as a socialite, and then Veronica had her social credit cards and her friends. You know what I mean? They all were kind of unaware. Why the hell did she pick Asian dude bro Reggie to go to the freaking... She was like, armless arm candy. And then she was like having this deep moment at the club, and he was like, trust fund? And I'm like, well, that's what you get with Reggie. That's what you get. I do like for the novelty of the show, they just keep somehow including him a little bit, like as a very side little moment. And I love it though, because he's just like, he's not offensive enough for me to be like, you're deeply filling me with hate. He's more like an awesome novelty of just being like, oh, you.
I really felt for the club owner who I think was in.
Wasn't
he in iZombie?
That's no. The chief is. I can see how you think they look similar because they actually have a very similar cowlick, but it definitely was not him. That is a crap.
They have similar faces. Anyway, no, it's fine. But he went up and he was like, "Hey, this credit card's been reported stolen." And then she was like, Reggie, of course, was like, "Hey, you want to tell the police how old we are?"
Fucked up.
And then, Josie was like,
they already have a second season.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You can take it up with my mom, the mayor. And then Kevin's like, "Oh, my dad, the chief," and it's like, "Oh my god!"
And
you guys
saw
are the brattiest little shits.
That really upset
it's
me.
Like
for
this
the
guy has
nightclub.
worked, God knows how many years of his life to get this business going, just to have 4 little entitled brats come in and be like, "Well, you can't do anything about it." It didn't make
me have a moment of being like, "Yeah." It made me have a moment. By the way, the name for Val is Hayley.
Jesus Christ.
They credited Ethel Muggs in this freaking episode.
Maybe she was.
Shannon Pecker.
Maybe she was one of the people that was looking for Polly. And we saw her for a split second.
I feel like they need to give her more purpose because they got a pretty decent actor on their hands.
I think they wanted to be like, "It's Barb. Look,
yeah, clearly." I'm not seeing the damn. I was gonna see if they credited him. They didn't. They freaking credited the drummer that we didn't see, who has no speaking lines at all. The drummer comes above Polly. Like, jeez Louise.
IMDb is crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I will get off this. So I'm just, I'm curious. They try to psych me out, but I was able to see quick enough for the next week's episode how they try to make it look like Jughead's in a snake jacket.
And Archie
that's
going
to fight Archie. But it's not. They put a hat on him, which, by the way, does not make any sense that any of those serpents would wear that kind of hat, because you never see any of them wear that kind of hat. But they did it just to...
Also...
Oh, we forgot to mention the very beginning of the episode, that amazing homage to the classic comics.
Yeah.
Oh, Jughead in his typical hat. I was like, ah! Like, Betty and Veronica were in their traditional outfits. I mean, everyone, even Polly had the wig that is her traditional haircut in the comics.
Yeah.
And she was holding hands with Jason. Oh my god. I gotta say, I kind of freaked out. I was like, can I have more of these homages, please?
I know, yeah, you were super excited.
What did it mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I already know. He was talking about family.
He was talking about, is this what the ideal life would be like?
He kind of saying he wants it, but the reality is
it was exist.
It was meant to be a little bit I love the horror and fun element of it being creepy, the way they were all smiling and emotionless, and he was kind of being react, kind of in so many words with his eyes, and then he turns to see his dad drinking, and he can kind of see the flaw in all of this and how it isn't a thing, and I was just like, oh. I'm gonna be like, dude, just to be real though, I could see your dream life with Polly and Jason, and with Veronica, and of course with Betty and Archie and all that stuff, but not with the parents. Why are Betty's parents there? They suck balls.
I think maybe because Betty's parents think that that's their life. But it could be nothing but in an attempt to have that perfect life, they've ended up being total narcissists with a daughter who's afraid for her safety and the safety of her child, and another daughter who's going behind their backs because she knows she can't trust them.
Yeah.
They've completely failed as parents, but
they're awful people.
I do think that they believe that they have that suburban dream.
Yeah.
They think that they achieved it, and so do the Blossoms.
Yeah.
They both really, that was their vision for their life that they wanted, and they think they have it.
Yeah.
Out of complete denial. And their response to trying to achieve that dream is to just be so controlling and manipulative. It's anything but that picturesque life.
If anything, it was similar to his vision of what the creepy element of it.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
Even though that's what he wasn't thinking of. I have to say, though, I'm literally left being like, I know this is so corny and outspoken, but I'm just like, but who did it? Who? Because I'm left going, why did
they want you to think
Jason?
That. That's why we keep watching.
I know, but like,
and we don't know.
When we heard from, I think his name was Trev, was the actor's name, who I think is supposed to be Valerie's brother. I don't know.
You said that he was supposed to be Josie's brother.
Josie's brother. He's
a nice guy. I want to see more of him.
Yeah, I liked him a lot too. He has this element where he says that Jason was selling and describes him as being very dramatic. I can't help but wonder, did Jason know who was after him? More than just...
Did he do something with like a serpent where a serpent gave him like, let's say like an ounce of weed to sell, and was like, okay, well, you'll give me the $400
and he was thinking,
at a later date.
I gotta keep this
Jason
money.
was like, I can't even, like, I'll make my money back, but I'm also gonna keep this $400 and try to skip town. I don't know if he'd get killed over that, but it's possible.
Oh, yeah, but not because he was thinking, I'll outsmart them, but because he was
he needed all the money he could get.
So I can't help but think that. But two, I can't help but be like, one, who would be aware that he was running out of town? And two, this is a big
Cheryl
one.
knew. Polly knew.
I'm talking about his killer. And two, the fact that they made the decision to bound him for a week, I can't help but be like...
What the hell is that about? Were they trying to bribe somebody?
Yeah.
You know, did Cheryl's parents know and not pay?
Who was vindictive enough to clearly... But they don't describe it as him being tortured. They don't discuss anything. They just say he was bound and then he was shot. So it sounds like someone had him and maybe were thinking of what am I going to do with him next. Because it would be... I feel like it would make more sense to me, as sick as this sounds, if he was bound and then he was in some way abused before he was tortured or before he was shot. Because to me it would be like, yes, someone had a personal vendetta towards him for whatever reason. And they were like giving it to him.
They were
Otherwise,
him ransom.
the fact
maybe they wanted money.
But because of the whole like his Cheryl's parents didn't know anything, and the whole ransom thing what clearly isn't a thing. It just you can't help but be like, well, if you didn't abuse him and you just why'd you hold him for a week? Why didn't you just kill him then? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
But because he wasn't abused physically, like it would have made sense to me. The only reason to keep someone alive is for ransom, or you have a personal vendetta against them and you want them to suffer. So I can't help but be like, come on. I need answers. I hope when we find out like in addition to that kind of thing. You know. I like that they keep bringing Jason's actor back. He is so weird looking to me. Like, he's not ugly. He's
definitely got a weird face.
You know what it is? Okay, you know how
pale.
Luke Perry and Archie are always... Luke Perry's always trying to bring the smolder. Like, he's always smoldering. And Archie... has elements where he's trying to smolder and make an expression, but he's not doing it all the time.
Semi-smolderer.
He usually looks confused. Like he's like mid shit, like what? Like, you know what I mean? Like that face. But then the person who plays the character, or the character himself, he looks like he's his own version of smoldering. But it's like creepy, like which works for his character being dead. But it just, I can't help but whenever she's like, oh, Jason, I'm just like, freaking me out. Polly, like, why'd you hook up with him? A weird doll and like, it's so creepy. Here, I gotta look him up because it's just too weird for me. I'm looking him up. Oh, I just want them to make out forever. I love them so much. Jughead and Betty.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Cheryl and Jason.
No. Thank goodness.
What else happened in this episode that we need to talk about? I'm trying to think.
Man, the person who plays Alice Cooper, look how pretty her headshot is. She actually looks incredibly young.
Oh, yeah.
She is 46. Damn!
They really make her look scary.
I hope I look that good at like 30. Like, man.
Anyway, is there?
Oh, she was
else?
on Twin Peaks.
Is there anything else in the episode that we could?
Okay, I'm down my IMDb train. You know me.
Yeah. I think that's it.
That's it.
It was a great episode.
Yeah, I'm really freaking. I will have to say this though before.
Mess with my head.
Yes, I will say this though. It's getting more suspenseful. Yeah. I'm just excited to see where it goes. Thank you, show, for giving us more and more clues. And what was I gonna say? In general, I'm really freaking thrilled we finally caught up, because it's annoying to rewatch the episodes, so it's like
nice.
We
capped it all off. Now we can just do
Yeah.
It's more fun to do it after we see it for the
when
first time.
You're hyped, it's fresh in your head.
My God.
You remember most details.
And you're still feeling it. Like, that episode definitely made me anxious a couple times. I thought certain things were going to happen. Like, I thought that it wasn't Polly in the attic. I thought it was, like, maybe whoever killed Jason.
And the way she came around from behind her.
I was like, is somebody going to kill Betty or, like, kidnap Betty? I thought that. I thought that Polly was going to get ambushed by the Blossoms in the diner, which would have been really bad.
Yeah, me too.
I thought that Jughead was going to, like, be detained. Or, like, worse things were going to happen to Jughead.
Me too.
Or Jughead's dad was going to go in there.
For Fred Andrews for being like, he was doing drywall for me and faking it, because honestly...
That was a good move.
I was like, thank you. Because right away he has an alibi. Done. He's not a suspect. Like, they're clearly going to leave him alone now. They were just going to see if they could bait it. You know? But anyways,
Jughead was probably writing his book.
Yeah.
It was at least nice at the
dad was supportive.
When he was like his dad was like, Archie's dad was talking about like football and shit, and he was like, oh, but Jughead doesn't care about those things. He's rather be doing books. And he's more like his mom in that regard, and that's a compliment. And I was like, that's cool.
I don't remember this part, but I was again listening to Andre. Speaking of some of the ironically more supportive parents,
do you think he has a video up? Is it possible
that
he would have a video up already?
Because he does, like, he'll show the images of the thing. He'll do a whole thing.
I know.
I know. I can't wait to watch his video.
I guarantee you he's filming right now.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. He cracks me up when one of his videos starts where he's recording the Josie is doing her eyelashes, and they have a nice zoom in on the Outlast thing, and he literally goes, I don't know who could be sponsoring this show.
Oh yeah, we didn't see a single CoverGirl commercial.
We did. The part when she's going, the mom's like this, and she has a compact. It literally is zoomed in on her compact of saying like Everlast.
No, but we didn't see a CoverGirl commercial.
We were muting the commercials though. I think there was one. To be honest with you, they're supporting the show, so I imagine like that's enough. You know, they don't have to pay for commercials too. But wait, I was gonna say something, but I was gonna say of supportive parents. Oh crap! Give me a second.
Jughead's dad supporting him.
There's another parent who's really supportive. Oh, there's a part you and I haven't seen. We weren't paying attention or something, or I don't remember it. But the sheriff is aware that Kevin is gay, and he's totally fine with it. In fact, when they find out about Moose and him being together, he doesn't judge him for being gay. He goes, Moose? Really? Like, literally, he's more like, really, son?
Really? You could
do better.
Else?
Like, it was actually nice, and I think Andre said it best. He goes, it was really nice seeing a parent have a conversation that if you were to, put in any sex or or race or anything, it would be a normal conversation between you and your parent. It was nice that they treated it that way. Instead of him being the cliched, gay friend. Except I will say this, though. Give him a little more meat again. I want him and Jose. Oh, that's my other couple.
Yeah, where's Jose?
I want Jose.
Yeah, so we didn't get to see any of Archie and Valerie, which I'm curious to see where that goes. Mm-hmm. I know that eventually he's going to get...
it was really...
He's gonna get super intimidated because she's a lot more talented than him, and then they're gonna end it, and then he's gonna be like, oh no, I miss you.
I want Trev to come out of nowhere.
So there's
and be
that.
Like, hey, Val.
Then there's also Jose and Kevin. We don't know what's going on with them, really.
Yeah, what I mean, we understand the serpents are there, but we're gonna get them next week, but I really don't want them to become too much of a thing, because that can get kitschy for me. But I mean more we see them and Jose's with them, and Jose's maybe having to be distant to Kev. Not.
Oh, he has
and
to.
And it could be him not. His crew doesn't know
himself.
he's gay, and that's like a homophobic thing.
Oh,
or,
there's definitely going to be an element.
Or
of that,
it's just purely the sheriff's son.
They're gonna have to.
And then like develop a Romeo and Juliet relationship. You're from this gang. I'm from a normal suburban home.
Well, his dad's the sheriff.
Yeah.
He's not just from like the normal suburbs.
Also, I really wanted an answer. Where's everyone living? Who's in the certain? Do you go back to your normal house? I would love though if they lived. No, it was one shitty house.
That's a trailer park. I guarantee all the serpents probably live in the trailer park. That's like the bad end of town.
I gotta tell you though, those jackets cost a lot of money. They get the money for those jackets.
Selling meth.
Oh god, yeah. There doesn't seem to be a lot of meth buyers in that town. A lot of happy, smiley faces.
Probably not.
I feel like they buy and sell honestly, amongst themselves.
The reason why I just don't think they sell weed though is because can you imagine
when Trev says drugs? I'm thinking he went to other towns to sell these drugs because no one in this town besides like maybe weed, but he clearly was selling like he said he was selling things.
He was selling weed and pills and stuff. I feel like
no one in Riverdale is doing heroin.
Imagine there's a real stigma against buying weed from the serpent.
Even the dad's not even doing heroin. He's just doing alcohol.
Can you imagine? I'm sure that there's some people being like, oh yeah, where'd you get that dub from? Oh, I bought it from a serpent. Really? Why?
Yeah. Buy it from your friendly neighborhood jock.
Laced with something or like some, really low quality. Like, why would you? Yeah, there's definitely a stigma. They probably sell drugs that like they're probably bordered on like a rougher town, So maybe they go to that other town and sell their drugs or something, or maybe they just hang around and look tough, and extort people and sell meth. That's steal cigarettes and sell it to 12-year-old kids.
That's sort of like understandable.
They just seem like the biggest bunch of losers.
Yeah.
No, I know. Everyone's super good in this show.
How does someone how do I express this? You know the type of when you see someone's family dynamic and you see a wife and a kid and their father is a gang member, it doesn't feel like they're a nuclear family. It feels like they're someone who they know is in a gang and they're trying to separate themselves from it. But the fact that he describes them ever being a normal nuclear family
and then just joins
the gang, I was like, what?
But then again, the serpents aren't like a normal gang. They don't have any other gang to fight against.
Again, okay. This is where you and I do our little fun tangent.
We're in a circle right now.
Okay,
we're never gonna understand the serpents.
We're very excited to talk about it next week. So
yeah, they'll be back next week and
fighting with Archie. I hope they punch his pretty little face.
I feel like Archie could take on one of the serpents.
He's like, oh, I got buff and I have a six-pack, but cover my face. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, why did you get him so muscular and then now he
because Reggie only got that cheap shot on him because he was literally caught off guard. It wasn't like a fight.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Weird ideas may appear with
Nick
and Sivia. Have a lovely day. Have a day full of pep.
Yeah. You could try to after that episode.
Yeah.
I'm still nervous.